This week, come with us to the lofty peaks of Kyrat as we chat to Ubisoft Montreal about Far Cry 4. We also catch up with the studio to find out more about Assassin's Creed Unity, and for a bit of a musical break, we check in with Disney and Harmonix to explore the worlds of Fantasia, Music Evolved. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and while Player Attack is all about video games, I feel like we've been talking a lot about movies lately. This week is no exception, with Warner Bros. Announcing that a film based on Lego Batman is in the works. It's being written by Seth Grahame-Smith, who also wrote Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and we're happy to report that Will Arnett will be taking on the role of the Dark Knight following his successful appearance in last year's Lego movie. Oddly enough though, Arnett is not playing the title role in the upcoming Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, but we'll forgive him. TT Games is keeping us happy with a bunch of new characters that will be appearing in-game, including oft-ignored comic favourites Swamp Thing and Detective Chimp, as well as, wait for it, writer, filmmaker and comic book fan Kevin Smith. Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham hits PS3, PS4, Vita, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Wii U, 3DS, iOS and Windows PC from November 11. And while we're on the topic of Lego, we have been given a sneaky peek at 4 new Minecraft kits due out by the end of the year. As well as The Cave and The Farm, which were leaked a little earlier in the year, we've now been treated to a look at First Night, which features Steve, a tree, a simple square house, a pig and an inevitable creeper. If you'd prefer something bigger, there is also a crafting box kit which features more than 500 crafty blocks. The Mine brings a spider or two into the mix, and a new dragon themed kit gives Steve a diamond armour, helmet, sword and bow, as well as a dragon and some wanderers to fight. These are all full-sized LEGO kits, unlike the previous micro-block offerings, and they should be out in November with no dates yet confirmed. On the other hand, we do finally know when Super Smash Bros. Will hit the Wii U, with Nintendo announcing that you'll be able to play the beat-em-up from November 21st in North America, December 5 in Europe and December 6 in Australia and New Zealand. The game also brings with it the first wave of amiibo figures: Mario, Peach, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Link, Fox, Samus, Wii Fit Trainer, Villager, Pikachu, Kirby and Marth. These are actually launching before the game in Australia and New Zealand thanks to a quirk in Nintendo's scheduling. A second wave, including Zelda, Diddy Kong, Luigi, Little Mac, Pit and Captain Falcon, is due out in mid-December, so you should be able to pick up the one that you like best just before Christmas. It has been a good year for horror fans, with this week's release of The Evil Within merely adding to a long list of scares. Sega's latest, Alien Isolation, has been terrifying gamers around the globe following its recent launch, but many fans were disappointed that the game shipped without one of its most frightening inclusions: the ability to play the game in virtual reality. Alien Isolation has been playable on Oculus Rift for months at various gaming events, but for whatever reason the developers decided to release the game without any native VR support. At least, no obvious native VR support. It didn't take modders long to realise that all the code was still in the game, so if you just modified a couple of files and entered a command line option when you ran the game, you can be scared in all new immersive ways. For mobile fans, we have some good news and some bad news. The bad news: Disney has unceremoniously pulled a couple of games from the App Store and Google Play, apparently without bothering to let the developers know about it. Both Star Wars Assault Team and Tiny Death Star, which is an interstellar version of super addictive mobile app Tiny Tower, were removed from the mobile stores so that Disney can focus on higher priority titles, like Star Wars Commander. If you've already purchased either game, you will still be able to download and play it, but if they were on the list of things you had to get around to someday, you are now out of luck. On the other hand, if you've been planning to check out the mobile version of Valiant Hearts: The Great War, Ubisoft has now got a nifty little treat to offer you. An exclusive interactive comic book will be hitting iOS starting November 6, starring the game's canine hero, Walt. The comic, Dogs of War, is an all-new storyline set during the early years of the First World War, as the pair of pooches save lives and deliver messages across the trenches. If you have already got this game on iOS, you will get the comic automatically when it launches next month, and if you haven't yet picked up Valiant Hearts, hop to it. It'll only set you back about $5. On to something completely different. Lindsay Lohan insists that Rockstar Games used her likeness when it created Grand Theft Auto 5. Her legal team has submitted a further 67 pages of evidence to the court, this time focusing on the bikini girl shown in the game's advertising and merchandise. At first, fans thought the girl was based on swimwear model Kate Upton until British actress Shelby Wellander stepped up and admitted it was her, showing her rockstar paycheck as evidence. Despite all that, Lohan's lawyers assert that the illustrated blonde is based on Lindsay, or a lookalike model, and that the campaign was designed to evoke the persona and image of Lohan. Included as evidence, a 2007 picture of the Mean Girls actress flashing a peace sign in sunglasses and a red bikini. You'd think if Rockstar really did base the artwork on this image, they would have included the ankle monitor Lindsay's wearing. Rockstar and parent company Take-Two Interactive have labelled the lawsuit a bid for attention and a publicity stunt. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
Can you remind people what Fantasia actually is?
It's the most amazing, mind-blowing adventure in music you've ever experienced. If you ever wanted to be, sort of imagine what it'd be like to be Mickey Mouse and stand on the cliff and be the Sorcerer's Apprentice and be able to wave your hands and change music, this is it. This is where we start.
Obviously, it's the sort of thing that's really only possible with the modern technology and with Kinect.
Kinect? Yes, it's only possible with Kinect. Who'd have thought? No, I mean, I think we're really super proud of what we achieved with Kinect. You know, some might argue that we're the first game to really design the experience for Kinect because we didn't start with any sort of supposition about how the game would work outside of motion. So, you know, both on 360 and especially on the Xbox One, where it's really sharp, you know, the experience was from the ground up to just stand up and move your body in time with music and have a great time.
So is it just stand there, dance to one song? Is it like a party game, or is there a story, or how does this work?
Is there a story? But Disney, of course there's a story. There's the first music game to have a story. Yeah, no, it really works in lots of different ways. There's a single player experience, which is this amazing adventure through your imagination. Fantasia is all about creativity, all about imagining how things could be if only you could wield the power of magic. And that's really the story that we take you on. You meet some great characters, some fantastic personalities, and travel to these realms of the imagination where music has the power to change the world in front of your very eyes. We're showing you the neighborhood, which is one of our city levels, but we go to space, we go underwater, we go to cities, we go to forests, you name it. You're all over the place. But really the heart of the game is being able to perform music, almost by a magical conductor. If you've ever sort of stood around your radio and gone, oh yeah, I could do that, well, now you can, and when you do that, the music changes and becomes a mix that is all your own.
When people hear that it's a Fantasia game, they automatically assume that it's going to be the music from the film.
Yes.
But it's not. Why was it important to bring in all of this contemporary rock and roll music?
Rock and roll. There's rock and roll. There's even hip hop and stuff. It's crazy. We actually did. You know, we went back and did 6 classical musics. We have Nutcracker Suite. Actually, Nutcracker is brilliant. Yeah, we recorded all our classical at Abbey Road with the London Symphony Orchestra, and Nutcracker is just simply my favorite song in the whole game. We really wanted to create a connective tissue with the film. But one of the things we discovered when we were in the archives looking at the notes that Walt and his team put together when they were making the film, their intention was for Fantasia not to be a film, but to be a concert program that changed over time. And every time they would actually release a new segment. And so we kind of crossed our fingers and said, well, what if that happened? Yeah. Where would we be today if Fantasia was this platform where music had been constantly added to? Which artists would be part of that program? And clearly Depeche Mode would be part of that program.
Depeche Mode and Bruno Mars. And Queen.
Yes, we still have Bohemian Rhapsody, which we announced last year for sure, is definitely there. I mean, there's like 20 odd songs now. I can't possibly remember all of the ones we've announced. And I know that 2 of my favorites are not. Oh. So you're going to have to stick with us because there's a couple of really fantastic ones still.
You guys, is there going to be... You keep announcing little bits and pieces and we keep hearing about... is the game still going to have surprises when it comes out?
I think so. I think so. I mean, the biggest surprise, I think, is the experience itself. You know, when people actually come in and try it, we found whether you're 8 or 18 or 80, it's a very different experience to a game you played before. You get the smile, you get the, oh my gosh, like, can you really do that? And I think that's why we're most proud of it. So there's still surprises.
And just to quickly backtrack, even though this does have a story and have a progression, it is still something you can just, you know, get a few mates around, have a few drinks, and just rock out.
Oh yeah, we have a party mode. It's the ultimate party game. Yeah, you got to try multiplayer, and you have to turn party mode on, and that's what the game is about.
Where'd you come by this, piss pot?
I'm in no mood for this. Give it back!
Take it back. If you think you can.
Assassin's Creed Unity is a reboot of the franchise. It's the next generation of consoles have really allowed us to see the core pillars of gameplay out to the extent that we had originally envisioned, I believe, for the franchise. So we've been able to revisit the core tenets of navigation, stealth, and combat to really make it an all-inclusive gameplay experience.
Keep an ear open, opportunity might just come knocking soon.
You can't have stealth unless it's balanced by good combat, and you can't have good combat unless there's solid parkour. And all of that doesn't matter if it's a living and breathing city that doesn't react to you or your friends, or the presence of the warring factions that we've added to the city. So the combination of those really allow us to push the limits of what we're doing. Plus, it's the greatest landmass we've had. We've got interiors that provide a whole new aspect to gameplay and evasion loops. So all the pieces together that Next Gen has really allowed us to see Assassin's Creed out to what we had originally envisioned it. Arnaud Dorian is on a path of revenge. He witnessed the murder of his father when he was young, and also his adoptive father. There's also a love story that ties in there. Arnaud, the name Arnaud itself is of Austrian descent, and it's related to eagle. So he's very much a true assassin in the means of he's from an assassin's bloodline. He's a strong character with a strong will and a strong personality, but he also shows a lot of personality with the love interest. So there's a lot for you to experience. The benchmarks that we've been able to set in cinematics and facials, animations really allow us to bring the characters that much further to closer to life. Skin shaders and wetness and eyes really allow us to portray a different level of emotion and personality that really lets you get to know the character and really get sucked into the game. Well, we'll be meeting a lot of characters as we move through Unity. The French Revolution is well known for its richness of just strong characters to begin with, whether it be King Louis XVI, Maximilien Robespierre, Napoleon Bonaparte, but we also have the ability to introduce narrative characters to get back to the root of the Assassin versus Templar conflict, and that's one thing that we really wanted to focus on. So the rich historical characters and context really gave us a good basis to work off of, but then we also had narrative gaps that we were able to fill with our own rich and in-depth characters.
That was cannon fire.
Sometimes opportunity sounds a lot like cannon fire.
Secure the prisoners!
Follow my lead.
One of the biggest additions to not just the characters in the game world, in my mind, is the addition of global illumination. It allowed us to provide a single light source that plays throughout the world. Paris is built of 7 districts. Each district has a different architectural, crowd, musical, and just general feel. And we're able to play into that much more by the use of light, realistic light that bounces off buildings. You come out from an interior and you're shocked by the light and everything's over bright and then all the colors saturate in. It really adds another level of reality to help keep the player immersed in the game world. I don't think for you to be able to pick up Unity and enjoy it, I don't think you need to have played through the previous iterations of the franchise. We're really making sure that it does fit in within the overall lore. We've got an Assassin's Creed brand team that makes sure everything sticks together, but we also put a focus on how do we make sure that new players can get into it. We really take a lot of care in introducing the narrative and the character. And obviously, even if you are familiar with the franchise, the advancements that we've made in the core gameplay components means that there will also be a learning curve for the veterans and the newcomers. So we make sure that we support both sides of the table and we give the best game experience no matter whether it's your first console game or you play through the entire franchise. We enjoy the position we're in. I personally, and I think the majority of the team that I work on, feel lucky to be part of Ubisoft and a part of a franchise that's so well accepted around the world. So we always try to put our best foot forward and really make sure that we're satisfying ourselves and the fans and just making the best game we can. Assassin's Creed Unity will be coming out in Australia November 13th, and it'll be coming out on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Passport. Breathe. I'll do the talking.
I'm with Alex from Ubisoft Montreal. We are talking about Far Cry 4, which looks amazing. There are pink suits all over the place. You guys are doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's good to be finally showing people. It's been 18 months since the last one, so not too long, but time enough, hopefully, to make something great. So we hope people are excited.
Now, this is a very different looking Far Cry. Everyone, traditionally associates Far Cry with nice, lush green jungles, and this time it's mountains and stuff.
Yeah, no, we've tried to bring a lot more verticality to it. So, we want mountain ranges, forests, valleys, rivers, streams. So a really different feel to the open world this time around. And that's meant we've had to build a whole bunch of new tools, whether it's grapples or helicopters, to get sort of people up high enough to have fun.
Now, we haven't really heard too much about the story yet. So what can you tell us about the story of Far Cry 4?
Yeah, it's really tricky to give details without giving away any plot twists and all that sort of stuff. But basically, you're a guy called AJ Gale who's returning to the country of his birth, which is Kyrat. He was raised in the States, but he was born there. And so he sort of gets entwined in all of his complex family history in Kyrat.
And who is the guy in the pink suit?
Oh, Pagan Min, the antagonist. So yeah, no, he's a guy who has a history with the player, with AJ. We can reveal it's not really a good twist, and people always speculate, but he's not your father, so don't worry. No Star Wars references in there this time. But he's someone who does have a relationship with your family, at least in the past. And so how that unfolds and how you interact with it is part of the game.
How does it feel to be working on a game that when you released the box art for the game, you caused so much immediate controversy?
We were talking about that. We were laughing. At least people care. You know what I mean? It's what's the Oscar Wilde quote? It's like any publicity is good publicity. But no, it's good that people get excited about it. It's good that people care. But we still hope that people would wait a little bit longer until we had more information and they can get more details on what we're actually doing.
So, Far Cry 4, is it in any way connected to any of the other ones, or are we just jumping straight in, brand new stuff?
Well, one of the cool things about Far Cry is that, you know, each game is its own entity. So even though in our minds they all exist in the same world, they're essentially unique stories. So there are some nods to Far Cry 3 and even Far Cry 2 in there if you're a fan of the series. So we try to cover all our bases. But if you've never played it before, it's easy to jump into, and it's a complete story.
So you've mentioned that there were some issues that you had had to work out how to make things more vertical, that sort of thing. What else was it like working with this new location?
Yeah, so obviously with the success of Far Cry 3, we knew we had a formula that worked, and so we wanted to keep the core of that. But wherever possible, we were making it better, editing it, improving it, adding a huge bunch of features. So something that was very important to me is in a game that's about telling your own story, you know, playing with the systems, riding elephants, shooting guns, we really wanted to say, how can we bring more player-generated story to that? So we've added a feature called Guns for Hire, which means you can call your best friend into the game. And that means you can play with all the toys, he can play with all the toys at the same time, and all that progress is within your single-player game. So all the bell towers you clear, all the fortresses you capture, all that sort of stuff is kept safe and sound.
And what sort of response? I mean, obviously, Far Cry 3 was massive, ridiculous. Did you get much player feedback from that then you've been able to build into Far Cry 4?
Yeah, well, we follow the forums, and you know we have a great test department back at Ubisoft. So we don't only hear what people think they did, we also see all the data on what they actually did, which are not always the same thing. So we see what people are struggling with, what people love, what people played a lot of, what they ignored. So we use all of that to inform our decisions, but we also try to surprise people. So if you only give people what they're asking for, it's not always the right answer.
So even though people didn't know that they wanted to ride elephants, now they get to ride elephants?
They did not request rideable elephants, but apparently now they really want to ride elephants. So that's a good thing. I'm very happy. Pat Mateo, our game director, his first idea was weaponized animals. So I was like, all right.
Okay, that's a phrase that we haven't really heard before. What can you tell us about weaponized animals?
Back of the box feature. Now it's just the idea that, you know, in Far Cry 3, you can free animals from cages and they will attack their captors. We have a new system for bait, so you can when you hunt, you can gather bait as well, so you can sort of lure animals to specific areas, so that's useful. But yeah, it's the only one in the game, the only rideable animal in the game, but the elephants are a lot of fun. Charging through trucks on an elephant, lots of fun.
Now, just to bring things back to you for a moment, you have an Australian accent and you're working for a French company in Canada.
Yes.
How did that work?
Oh, it's been a long road. I spent many years at Maxis in California, and then I moved up to Montreal, and I was on Assassin's 3 obviously before this one. So been around a while these days. The accent is still sort of 75% there though, so that's a good thing.
It's still there enough that we can recognise it, and it's so great to see an Aussie who's made his way up through the ranks.
Cheers, thanks.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, it's time to look at Dragon Age Inquisition, which hits shelves very soon indeed. And Sunset Overdrive game director Marcus Smith tries something a little bit different on his recent Australian trip. In the meantime, you can catch us on playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, and if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.